You're listening to Stories for Monsters Episode 7, Death's Mercy.
Far away, on a day completely unlike today, when gods roamed, and before she was known as the High Oracle and Empress of the Sea, Maud Demeline, the pirate, was searching for fresh crewmates on the Isle of Wolves, named Lobo. Her taste in places to hire her deckhands alone made each and every sailor in the world think her mad, or evil, or both. For a moonless week she set anchor in the harbor, buying supplies like fruit, rum, and dried meats, attempting to buy souls to help her with the cargo and the ship. Every day she went in, and every day she added barrels and barrels to her haul. Still, no one joined her crew. They would ask,
"Where are you taking all this?"
She would just give them a toothy grin and pull out a pearl bigger than her fist. She would say,
"There's nothing left for me in Terra. I seek treasure unknown on the distant shore."
They scoffed, but she promised she could be home for the moonrise, and she paid handsomely. Most of them laughed at her, but some of them, those who thought it would be a quick scam, easy money and easy meals, signed up. By the end of the week, she had a crew. Just enough to run her ship, and she left the isle. She sailed a long way, away from Lobo, and past Revelita, and past Epic, past shores uncharted into oceans forbidden and unknown, where the water changed from blue to a pale, ghostly white. Still, the captain sailed on. From the Lorelei Ocean into the Nether Sea, where the waves splashed without so much as a whisper against the bow. And when the wind would no longer aid them, they rode. And as the moon, night by night, took shape in the sky, the crew began to fear. All the gold in the world couldn't buy back their lives if mad Maud stranded them beyond the mortal plane. They subsisted on their own supplies, then the cargo, and then there was just them, and the ship, and the sea. Still, they sailed. They became a ghost ship. Their hearts continued to beat in their chests, but it didn't matter. They were heading for the distant shore. The only ones who did that were the dead or the dying. They sailed. Further than the fish would swim and follow their nets. They sailed. Some of the veterans who had thought this would be easy money began to regret. They had assumed
There are no stories of monsters in the Nether Sea. There's nothing to be afraid of.
But the reason they never heard of monsters, of leviathans and deep mermaids, of krakens and maws that could swallow ships, was because none of them wanted to die. And so they sailed, even as the water thinned, and as the sea changed from milky liquid to a murky, turbid nothingness. Maud's ship continued to sail, even as the moon waxed full, and as the crew transformed. They sailed. Dead wolves feel no hunger. They sailed, and as naught supported their ship but distant stars and fog, they sailed, and as the reapers, like angels dressed in rags, came to collect her before she could see the face of Roshnu herself, Maud began to sacrifice her crew. All the beautiful, hopeless monsters she had brought with her for this one purpose, for the god of death. Every time they came to collect her, she would push a mate over the railing and the reapers would catch the beast, and they would ferry it to the shore. So she sailed, further and further past where any mortal should have given up or turned around, or just stopped breathing. When she ran out of crew to sacrifice and preoccupy the reapers, she finally stopped. But not to give up. To swim. Maud threw her all-seeing pearl overboard and followed it into the nothingness herself. The reapers watched her go. Maud swam down and down and down to the very bottom of the Nether Sea, where no monsters but her hid, and she found the distant shore. And there was her pearl sitting on the white rose sands like she knew it would be, being lazily batted around by a lion who she had not foreseen. She dragged herself aground and she looked at the beast.
I need that back.
No, you don't.
Said the lion. Even as he picked up the pearl with an elegant hand. He knelt there watching it for a moment, then stood on his own 2 feet and straightened his red coat. He was an exceedingly handsome man with an azure feather perched and shimmering on the side of his cap. Even as he spoke, great horns seemed to stretch like decades through the holes punched in the hat's brim.
Why is it you think you need this?
He asked.
I must find the god of death, Roshnu.
The lithe old Ifrit woman before her hummed thoughtfully, ignoring the dried blood trails down her face, and tucked a stray white lock behind one of her truncated horns.
And why is that?
She asked, absent-mindedly engulfing the pearl in black flame, fascinated by the way the dark lights danced on its glossy surface.
After all, everyone meets Roshnu eventually. Just wait.
I've already waited so long.
The dragon looked down on her with a glassy violet eye.
I don't think it's
I have. And I had nothing. Nothing but the promise that I would meet Rashnu one day, and I'm here to collect my prize.
Collect?
asked the werecat princess.
For all your sacrifices.
Yes.
The god sighed. Its green scales shifted uneasily as it coiled up.
I didn't particularly enjoy those sacrifices. Just meant more errands and explanations for me.
What?
Yes, it isn't quite as glamorous as people seem to think it is. Ferrying people here, giving them what they deserve.
It's really tiring.
But I suppose that gives me more time to reflect on all the outcasts.
What? No, I'm not a...
I know exactly what you are.
said Fiametta.
You're right. You aren't the only one this world has gotten all twisted. But I can fix you.
The giant stooped down and picked Maud up from the beach, observing her closely as she struggled to maintain composure in his palm.
I will give you another chance to live, to start anew, with a spirit reforged. But I cannot bestow this gift freely. Give to me your eye of destiny, the pearl you hold so dearly above all else, and you shall be new.
But how will I know what to do next? Who I'm to become?
Will not.
Can I trust you?
I would have retrieved you anyway, as I do for all creatures.
And so, Maud bowed, and Rashnu gained the all-seeing pearl. He swallowed it whole, and he looked back to Maud knowingly.
I see.
The giant molded the seafarer as a potter molds clay. He carved for her eyes that knew no darkness, lungs steely enough to breathe easy in the deep, sleek gray fins to outswim destiny, and a heart to keep her warm. And when he was pleased with her new vessel, he nodded and plopped Maud's unconscious form into a glass bowl. Rashnu needed nothing else from the shore that day. The god walked back home and placed the bowl and the Empress-to-be on a shelf. Already the flesh began to stir with life and breath. An infant renewed.
This time, you won't be alone. Stories for Monsters is a production of Rhetorical Answers. It is written, directed, produced, and primarily voiced by Fable McDaniel. The voice of Maud Dameline is Saborfly. The voices of Fiametta and Pyn are Lauren McDaniel. The voice of Mihraan is Kyle Newbridge. Original music by Rhetorical Answers. Logo art by Kyle Newbridge. Special thanks to my patrons, and a big shout out to Adrian, Cindy, Darian, Jay, Marilyn, and Tiana. This would be impossible without your support. Finally, thank you to my players for inspiring me to make such a fantastical world. If you like this and want more information, visit the website at rhetoricalanswers.net. And if you want to help support the show, the music, and me making cool new things, please check out patreon.com/answers. Patrons get free stuff, surprises, early ad-free access, prompts, behind-the-scenes peeks at stuff, and their name here in the credits. It's loads of fun, but most importantly, patrons are the reason I can do this at all. And I hope that one day, with enough of you, I'll be able to tackle more ambitious projects and support myself doing this full time. Thanks for listening, and thanks for subscribing. Late. Next time, Fiametta braves Einar. Will she find what she's looking for? Tune in to Stories for Monsters Episode 8, Empty Destinies.